All right, thank you, everybody. Thank you. I'm excited. March is booming. I got another beautiful woman that's going to be sharing her profession, what she does for the community. I'm very impressed by Sherry, so I'm excited to hear what God is doing and what God has been speaking to you in this season. But I want to start off with a proper introduction. Minister Evangelist Sherry Hamilton is a native of Austin, Texas, which is rare. I'm gonna just be honest. You know, it's rare that y'all stay here. She is honored to be married. Well, it's more than 27 years because you published this book. How many? When did y'all just celebrate?
Actually, we just celebrated the 29th. So this year, 2020 is going to be 30 years.
Yes, 30 years. I want to make sure we put that right. 30 years and have two wonderful and talented children. Sherry received her call on February 4, 2009. Now, I was very impressed by this because you know it was a call when you can remember the date, the time, a mark of transformation. And she responded immediately. She was the first woman minister licensed in her local church and has since then opened many doors for others, which is amazing, giving back by overcoming many obstacles and trials while walking by faith, not by sight, to fulfill the call on her life. Sherry Hamilton is the founder and CEO of Women of Unity. Yes, yes, yes. A nonprofit 501c3 organization that promotes love and unity among all women while helping women to find and fulfill their purpose. This is like my heart right here. Definitely. She's an intercessor and a facilitator of Divine Inspiration / Women of Unity Prayer Line Ministry for 9 faithful years, and has begun an initiative called A Community That Prays, which I'm very excited to hear about that and invite people so that they can know what you're doing.
Awesome.
A neighborhood prayer meeting to inspire others to come beyond the four walls and pray for their neighbors. Sherry has a mandate to pray, to encourage, to support, and empower others through the grace and word of God. She is a licensed nurse and is an entrepreneur with her own CPR business, which I use faithfully, and Red Heart CPR that equips others to save a life. So thank you so much, Sherry, for everything. Thank you for doing what you do and inspiring us to keep moving forward. I just want to start off and talk about your journey to believing in God. Like, why do we see Sherry today when it comes to her faith?
Wow, I love to share this. This is something that's very important, and I think that people need to know this. That myself, I didn't grow up in the church. Okay, I was one of those homes that I heard my mom always say, "Oh God, you know," or something like that. But I really didn't go to church when I was young. We just didn't have that. My sister did. I tell everyone, my sister went to church because there was a little man I'll never forget, Pastor Steen, and he would knock on the door and come and get the kids in the neighborhood and take the kids. But I was one that always ran the opposite way, believe it or not. And so it wasn't until I was in my 20s, after I had my son, and so I'm a late bloomer.
Yeah.
But when I heard God and I heard his voice and I got to know him, and so when I heard God just dealing with me in my 20s, I went to church for the first time on my own. Believe it or not, I was 24 years of age.
Wow.
I went to church on my own, besides going to funerals, you know. And so I did that, and God was dealing with me, and I wanted to know who he was. And so I got into church. I joined a local church in Austin, and I was there, and I just, you know, it's kind of, this is good and this could be bad, but I got in and I still had 1 foot in and 1 foot out. All right, I'm gonna be very transparent.
Yeah.
1 foot in and 1 foot out, but I was seeking him because he was calling me, and I really didn't know him like that on my own. And so I got in, and the things that was around me, I didn't really have anyone to connect with. And this is part of my story. This is why I'm so passionate about others. And I see the person that's in the background or that's not really connecting with others, and I want to connect with them. Because here I am, 24 years of age, don't really know about this church stuff. And so I get in, and because I had 1 foot in, 1 foot out at the time. I saw others when I would still go to the clubs. I'm gonna be honest here. I was still going a little bit, and then I saw everyone, the choir, the deacons, everybody there, and I knew that there was something more to it. Because God was really dealing with me. He was allowing me to see different things. And so I got out of the church. I mean, I just kind of got, the little snake came and got me or whatever, and I got out. You know what I mean? I wasn't participating. And so it wasn't until many more years, believe it or not, my son was 4, and my daughter and my son is about 7 years apart. Mm-hmm. And I didn't get back into church until she was 3 years of age.
Oh, wow.
So I didn't get back in until 2000. This was in the 90s. And then I didn't get back until 2003. God was showing me, he was calling me, he was pulling me in with his cord of love.
Yes.
And I got to know him personally. I got to know who he was for myself.
Yeah.
And I wanted the real thing. Nothing else worked. Nothing else, no fakeness. I wanted him, and I wanted to be all in. And so that was my journey. That was my journey into the whole Christian scene, by allowing God to pull me in with his cord of love and getting to know him for myself. Yes. It wasn't routine. It wasn't because somebody else told me. It was because I knew who Sherry was. Yeah. And when I got to know who God was, and he still loved me and sped me.
Yes.
That was beautiful to me. And there was no other love like that. And
that's
so that's
awesome.
my journey into it. And there's, we can go farther from there. But that's kind of, my story. I want people to know that you may not, because, you may have family members that don't go to church and stuff like that. But when God has his hand on you, he will call you in. Yes. And it's important to get to know him for yourself. It's not about a routine. Traditional, I don't know tradition.
Right.
I'm not a traditional person. I'm spiritually led and not traditionally bound.
Yeah. That's good. A good thing to point out is that sometimes we, as believers too, can limit God's ability to call the people that we love. And I think almost is that we forget how he called us. Because I know I was out there, even though I grew up in church and I had a sense of a foundation there, I didn't know him for myself. I knew him based on my grandmother's, requirements of me. But when I became a teenager, it was on my terms at that point. And God reached me on those terms. Really, he would send strangers to speak the word to me. And they didn't speak thou art. They would just say whatever God had told them to say to me about me. And part of the message continually, I remember every one of them vividly, was that he saw me. At the end of the day, the theme was that he saw me, he loved me, and he died for me.
Yes.
It's just, he was wooing me. And I know I was at a place where my grandmother thought that was the end of me because of the history of my family, because of what she saw. My mom, has been addicted to drugs all of our lives. So I knew for her, it was just dang it. I tried my best and I lost one, but God was relentless, man. I mean, you speaking,
I know without a shadow of a doubt that someone was praying for me. I don't know who it was. I mean, I think about my grandmother, she had passed away, and my mom went to church when she was younger. We just didn't grow up in that environment. But she knew who God was. It's just that God just had to pull me in on his, I had to get connected personally and let him draw me on in. And so it's so important that we pray for our children and pray. And I tell my children, I say, if I never meet my great grandchildren, I want them to know this, that they had a praying grandmother.
Yes.
I want them to know that somebody prayed for them,
Yes.
So, yeah.
That's awesome. That is so good.
That's kind of how I got pulled on in. And then many years later, God started showing me that he had his hand on me when I was in a little Baptist church in Buda, and I'll never forget that we're holding hands, and I just felt the Spirit of God, and I remember hitting that floor and saying, praise him, praise him, praise him. They were so traditional, to be honest, they were so traditional that I remember the little lady told my sister, get your sister, because they didn't understand that. Yeah, and that was really kind of sad. And so I was that person that was at the church, and they didn't think that I was, quote, the Christian person or whatever. They were get the head, my sister doing everything, but Sherry, I tried to volunteer, they didn't want me. So, but God wanted me.
That's it. That's all
God
that
wanted
matters.
me.
That's it. That's all that matters. I've been in an environment, especially for college, where it's Christian, but they didn't lift hands. And I remember the praise team was singing a song about God's love, and I was just like, forget this. Like, I can't sit down and lift my hands and worship. And yeah, like, do you understand what she's talking about? You know, this is my story right here. So I get it. You know, sometimes it's awkward, but it's like, I mean, God has saved my life, and y'all don't understand the magnitude of this, but I do, and I have to get outside of myself, and I have to worship him the way I feel it.
And when you do that, it just becomes personal.
Yes.
And that was the key. And I think that was one thing that anything about me that I would want anyone else to know is that she has a personal relationship with the Lord.
That's
and
good.
I know where I would be right now without him. I can't imagine where I would be, let me say that, without him. Right.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Ditto. Like ditto.
When he pulled me in, I don't know if you want to discuss this, but it was years later. It was like in 2007 is when I really knew that I was saved. It was when I gave up my past. You know what I mean? Like crossing the fence and everything. Like I made a decision that I was going to follow him with all of my heart.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget that, December 31st of 2007. And something just clicked. I was at the church and bringing in a new year, and my husband was home. And as soon as I walked out, I had already gave my life like totally to God. Like I'm going to serve him for real, for real. Everything else is, you know, I'm leaving behind. And when I walked out of the church, my husband had, I got a call that he had been in a car accident on New Year's Eve. And I thank God that he was just dealing with me, and I gave my life to him that day, and he saved my husband. Is what I did. And so from there, you know, Sherry just been focused and moving forward. And within a few years, he called me into ministry. And I was in a church that it was a typical Baptist church. They were trying to figure out where they were going, but I was, God called me, and it was traditional. You know, they didn't have a woman ministry. They didn't really believe in women ministry. And so God used me to break down doors.
Wow, that's awesome.
And I had to walk through that process, and it wasn't easy.
It wasn't easy.
I look back and I see so many women that have been ordained now, you know, from that church. And so I just give God the glory.
Yes.
Things that to me is just mind blowing to baptize. God, when God has his hand on you, he will make people know who you are. You don't have to really say anything. You don't have to fight for yourself. All you have to do is stand.
Yes, that's good.
Because I was like, God called. How you know God called me? God said he changed my name.
Yeah.
And so I had to stand flat-footed and know that he called me without a shadow of a doubt. And I went through. I mean, that's a whole nother interview. But I went through. But in all, God showed the man of God who I was.
Yes.
To this day, that woman is a woman of God, and she loves God, and God's hand is on her. I was able to baptize my daughter and my mother.
Wow.
Before I was even ordained, before he actually ordained me. This doesn't happen in a Baptist church, you know. But I was able to get in the pool with the man of God and baptize my own daughter.
Wow.
And then my mother and the man of God opened that door for me. He was like, no, I know, and this will be a special moment, something you'll never forget. And I'll never forget that before, it's so untraditional, but to be called in a basically a Baptist type of, you know, church, and to allow God to do that work and let people know who I was. And then in the midst of me, before I'm actually ordained, which was like in July of 2010, I had already baptized my mother and my daughter.
Wow.
So that's just mind blowing.
That's amazing. That is amazing. That gives us a good segue to purpose. You know, part of what you do with Women of Unity is helping women realize their purpose. And I think this is huge. I love it because when we understand why we are, then we walk differently. You know, we're not walking vicariously and you know, we're not careless with our lives, and we understand our value a lot more. So talk a little bit about that process and what you're doing with Women of Unity.
Right. Women of Unity is a nonprofit organization that unite women together of all ages, creed and ethnicity to help women find and fulfill their purpose. And I always like to let people know this. Our purpose is defined by 5 key elements to me. One is that unity piece, right? To unite. And then it is VINE, vine, right? God is the vine and we are the branches.
Yes.
And so we volunteer, we inspire, we network, and we equip and empower women to find and fulfill their purpose and to walk in their purpose. So God is definitely in the midst of that. One thing why it's so important to me is because we always hear people trying to say, what's your purpose? And you know, we don't know, and we walk in carelessly. You know, we walk in and we don't really know where we're going. What I found for me personally is that every day I wake up, I am in my purpose. And it's what I decide to do with that day. Because when I meet you, when I meet someone, I need to live in that moment.
Yes.
Because sometimes we get caught up in trying to figure things out so much that we never do it. It's like you're waiting for a big platform to walk in your purpose. That's not the key.
That's
your purpose start right now, today, right?
Yes.
So that's something that I had to figure out for myself. So yes, we help women find and fulfill their purpose. Yes, we go through, you know, like trying to figure out their core values, because I'm a life coach as well. I'm a Christian life coach and a professional life coach. And so every woman, they have opportunity to have a free life coaching with myself and just try to get them on the right path and to see where they at and what's their goals and their dreams and their hopes and their vision. And then just really the way God deals with me is that we just try to figure out what is it that you're passionate about and what is it that your heart thrives for, you know, find those things and then bring them together. And then just telling them every day you get up, just try to be the best person. Just try to live in that moment, because you don't have to wait until a platform. You don't have to wait until somebody open up a door for you. You start right where you're at. And that's how your purpose really begins to develop to me. My purpose is still developing.
Yes.
I know who I am in God, and I know his hand is on me. And so I think that's really, for me, is the key.
Yeah.
One thing I do want to share, like if someone have a vision to be in a ministry or a nonprofit or to write their first book, then this is how we help them, because the things that I've gone through, I share that with the women.
Yes.
The women that I meet, that the connections and the doorways that God has opened up for me, I share that with others. And so that's just helping them figure it out and how allow God to work with them, you know, with that. But if I have the resources and the connections, then I provide those for the women. And the women that connect with Women of Unity, they all have a purpose. They all have a business. They have ministries and stuff like that. And so what we do, we bring all that together.
Yes.
Like, I can't do this. Sherry can't do it by herself, right? I don't have I just don't have it. But when, you know, when my gift meets with your gift, and, you know, I tell people like this, it's like a big old stew. I got the potatoes, honey, and you may have the green beans and the corn and the sausage and the chicken or whatever. And so we just put all that together, and we're able to serve others and help others grow and prosper and everything. So
that's good. This last interview, we actually got on the same topic about allowing others in. And that for women, that's huge for us, that there's always, you know, there used to be for me, but these barriers and walls. And I've come to realize, because God kind of threw me into that, but is realizing that that's the enemy's plot for us to be divided.
Yeah.
And it's something that comes out of the poverty mentality mindset. I mean, I grew up poor. So that's, you know, you walk in the store, there's a woman, she rarely smiled, you know, she zoned you up, you know, there were all these different things I dealt with in Louisiana. And my niece, I won't name her because she's like, hey, Laura. But when she was visiting up here, I was laughing so hard at her. She didn't understand why people were just smiling at her. It was 2 different environments. She's like, why are they looking at me? Why are they waving? Why are they smiling? Get up and aisle. Like, and I'm like, y'all need to spend more time. like, you know, but that was the reality. Like, she was like, how do I let people in? There was a deeper question she was asking with those interactions, but I understood it because I grew up in Louisiana. I know the mindset of the people, even the women, like even though we don't say anything, it's almost as if we hate each other already. So it's important. And I love what you do and how God threw me into ministries where I can walk in the room and it's millions of women, thousands, hundreds, 10, 2, and we just immediately connect and we love on each other, we support each other, and we uplift each other. There's such a healing thing about unity, and that's what you're talking about, and that's what you're about. I just want to encourage women, like, if you're feeling that way, trust me, it's a lie. Sometimes you need to just change your environment. Like, sometimes you're just really not around the right people.
That's it.
That they're broken. You know, I always like to acknowledge their brokenness, because that informs them of how they interact and respond to you. But maybe you need to move around and get connected to Women of Unity and different organizations that feed into that and gives you a whole new view of what God has ordained for us to do as women.
You know what I find is that, because I didn't understand it, because I would walk in the room, I'm smiling, and my daughter even would say, Mom, why are you smiling at everybody? I'm waving my hand and like, hi, you know, like a little kid, like, you know. Yes. But I think it was just in me. But something I want to share about unity, and this is very important. This is something that God really placed in my heart. He said, there is no unity without love.
That's good.
And that's the key. You have to love others, love yourself, love God in order to have unity.
That's good.
You know what I'm saying? And oh my gosh, I can't recall the scripture, but I'm gonna have to text it to you, because I posted it this past week. I've been posting it about unity and stuff like that. And there's a scripture in the book of Colossians, I believe, and it speaks about unity and love. And so basically there is no, you cannot have unity without love. And that's every good. Time we have a event, program, a meeting, people always leave out and they talk about, oh man, I felt good. I felt the love. I felt, and I'm like, they saw the unity. It is because of love. That's the key.
Amen. That's good.
That's the key. That's the key. So where there's no love, you won't find unity. Period.
That's good. You know, you speaking on something too, because a lot of that brokenness is because we're not loving ourselves. We don't know how to. Yeah. Been mishandled in some way. So we have all of these, you know, blocks and walls and blinders. So that's a good revelation.
That is key.
Wow.
Like when we did the gala this past week or whatever, I'm trying to pull up the scripture because it's on my page. But the God showed me, he said, man, I was able to bring together all different races, different age groups, different backgrounds. Some was from the big percentage of the people was from the faith-based community. Like it was bishops and apostles and prophets and stuff like that in the building, right? And just to see how everybody connected. People didn't know others and stuff like that, but we were able to come together and love filled the room. Love filled the room. It was in the atmosphere. And that was my hope for the community, because in order for the community to come together, we have to love one another. That's why going into a community that prays and the prayer line, it is because of love. God said, love thy neighbor. And so love is the key in my ministry, and to love everybody. I don't care if you got $1 million versus you got $2 or 1 cent in the bank or no money. I still love you the same. Yes. And that comes with unconditional love and wanting to see people grow and become what God has ordained them to be. So
awesome. Yeah. How did nursing become a part of your journey? How did that?
Oh, wow. Nursing. I've been a nurse since 2002.
Okay.
And I started out from the ground up, you know, but I think really, I can say God led me that way.
I know he did me.
It's kind of funny, but you know, he has a way of pushing you.
Yes, he does.
Because back in the 90s, I worked for MCI, right?
Okay.
MCI, it was a big, you know, people doing the phone company.
Yes, I remember like MCI.
And I'll never forget that I didn't understand at the time, but I got booted out. Let me just say that, you know, like I literally got let go from a job.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, what am I going to do? I'm pregnant with my son and all this stuff. And my husband was in the military. He was over in Desert Storm and, you know, going through all that. And so I needed a job. So I ended up going to CNA program. And then I was like, I needed to do more. So I went for medical assistant. And then I heard about Capital Idea.
Yes.
And got involved in that. And I had waited 10 years from being a medical assistant going back to school. So for becoming a licensed vocational nurse. And I was it was just a blessing. But I think I always loved people. I think it was in my heart to do so. And it was a part of the plan that God had for my life.
Definitely.
Really. It's just part of the plan, because I wouldn't have, I was in college, you know, when I graduated from school, going to Houston Tillotson and stuff, I thought I was going to become a teacher, you know, but I ended up teaching anyway, because in nursing you teach.
Yes.
And in ministry, you know, you teach. And
yes.
So I didn't know, but that's how it came out. Yeah.
That's good. So you started off as a CNA?
Yeah, started out as a CNA.
Me too.
And I was given opportunity to go back to school for RN. So I do want to share this because, you know, I'm really led by God, and I have the ability to go back. The program always told me, say, if you want to come back, we pay for it. We have you. And I think it's an amazing thing for people to do. Go get your, now I tell people, go get your RN. just go straight, because once you stop, and like me, I had a family, I had my children, I was late in the game and stuff like that. But still, that's no excuse. You can still go back. But my heart was ministry.
Yeah,
you know?
I understand that.
So it just kind of connected. But I've always done holistic health seminars, and I'll get into CPR when you start asking me about that, because it leads to that. But I had to have my CPR stuff in order to do nursing, right?
Yeah.
And if you don't mind, I'm gonna go ahead and just
go ahead.
Down, right? I'll never forget, as a nurse, and this was just a few years ago in 2013, when God started pulling me into CPR, and he was showing me that, you know, you need to have a business. Like, he was going to create a business for me, because just working 9 to 5 was not going to get it, especially when he has a call in your life. You're going to have to make money, right?
Yes.
We're going to make some money, right? Some kind of other way, not be just being up under somebody else working 9 to 5.
Right.
So he began to show me that, and CPR was on my heart. And I was like, I need to have it as a nurse, but I felt really inspired to teach others, equip out others to save a life, physically and spiritually.
That's good.
I was just like, oh my God. And it was so burning. And I paid for my own way. Like, I know when I went to a class for CPR, there were people that said they were there because of their job. They were there because their boss sent them. I was there because because God had placed it in my heart to do that. And I paid out of my own money. I didn't have it at the time. You know what I mean? I was struggling still as a nurse. And I end up paying for my, you know, to become an instructor and go through the courses and core courses and all that stuff that I had to do for that. And I'll never forget, they asked me in the room, they said, well, why are you here? And I said, because I've been inspired. I've been inspired to teach others how to save a life. You know, I mean, with this, so it's kind of funny now, but it wasn't funny at the time.
Yeah.
Because when God has a call in your life, and I hope people get this, but when God has something for you to do, there's always some type of backlash or retaliation. Like you got to press through something. And I'm like, it shouldn't be that hard for me to become a CPR instructor, but I had to fight. I mean, I almost didn't pass, you know, it was like crazy. I'm like, this should be easy, but I got attacked. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I really got attacked trying to become a CPR instructor. And that's when I knew also that that was my spot. That was a place that God was going to use me. I wasn't doing it for money. I had so many loved ones that had passed away due to cardiac arrest. It was family history of mine. And so equipping my family and equipping my community was very important to me. Wow. So that's the reason I do it. And within 3 months of me getting my little certification to become I'm a BLS instructor, which is basic life instructor, first aid instructor, heart saver instructor. Okay. And so when at 3 months after me getting my certificate, my uncle, that was very, very dear to me, and there was an article done on me about this, but so my uncle passed away in front of my family. He died of a cardiac arrest. They didn't know CPR. No one had taken it for many, many years. Yeah. And God showed me, unfortunately at that time, this is why you are being equipped and empowered to go out and help your family, first of all. So to offer courses, and then to go out into the community and to take it to other places. Because when something like that happened, you need to, if this is what happened when, oh my gosh, I'm just praying to say this right. teaching others to save a life, what I found was the most heartbreaking is that the family members still deal with that to this day.
Yeah.
Because they wish they had done something. So you may not be able to save everyone.
You're
All right.
right.
You may not be able to save every life, because if it's just their time to go, it's their time to go. But you need to know that you've done everything in your power to save that life for yourself, for those that's living.
That's
So
good.
that's why I teach others to save a life, because having that dread feeling, and I see it in my family, that wish they had done something. They watched their father pass away. They watched their uncle. They watched their brother, and they couldn't do anything. That is one of the most horrible feelings ever. So that's why I do what I do. I started out for my family. I started out because of the call, but I didn't really get the passion and understanding why I was doing it until 3 months later. I got that piece of paper, and that happened, and I've been on a mission ever since.
Wow. That's powerful. Man, because you never expect to be in a situation where you have to. And actually my clinicals last year, I don't know, it's 2020 now, but in 2018, towards the ending of my nursing school, one of the patients, I was walking down the hall coded.
Yeah.
So all this time being a nurse, being a CNA, I never had to utilize my skills. I didn't. And here they're calling all of us, the students, everybody that you can get in. And we were just learning in class how everybody, just like you said, everybody tries everything they can in this moment. Because you don't know, right? You don't know if it's time or if it's,
everything that you can to save their life.
Man, I don't know how long we worked on this lady, but it seemed like hours. The doctor's like, keep going. And I was just like, and we were rotating so we wouldn't get tired. And it was like, by the time I got to probably my 4th or 5th time of doing compressions, and they giving her, the different, doing her, shocking her and all these different things. At one point, I'm like, okay, God, what am I supposed to be praying for? Because she looks like it's gone. She's, gone home or whatever. And I realized that she wasn't coming back. But the relentless just attitude of everybody in the room it was so many emotions going on in that. And it just made me think about how relentless God is for our souls. Because you're talking about not only the spiritual aspect with Women of Unity community that prays, but even how God can and wants to be a part of our professions and our businesses. And that it always has a life on the other end of it. And if we miss that opportunity, we do sit home. Once we realize that there was something that we could have done, we sit with that, and that, that's a revelation in itself. You've said a lot just in that statement. I'm like blown away by that. Wow.
Yes. I don't know if you knew this or know this, but my business is actually called All Matters of Life. That's my LLC. Red Heart CPR is under that. Okay. So RED stands for Rescuing Every Dying Heart, right? That's what that reads, the Rescuing Every Dying, and then the heart, Red Heart. But my name of my official business is All Matters of Life. And I equip and empower others to save a life physically and spiritually. And so that's what I'm doing. So it brings my ministry and it brings my business together.
Yes.
That is something that, that's what it just all comes together, all matters of life. And so, the CPR, and God said, you're going to equip others to save a life physically. Teaching others CPR. And then he showed me spiritually. And you know why it connects? Oh, this is so amazing to me. But it connects because I'm visual. I see it. And I see people dying, right? Like CPR, like, and I'm giving compressions. I'm trying to give life, and you got to breathe, right? Doing that. And that's what we need to do physically. He showed me spiritually, people are dying.
Yes.
So I see it physically. I'm teaching others to save a life, and even in my courses, I just be me and encourage people and stuff like that, and they leave out saying something different about your class, But if you can see somebody dying physically, and then we look around the world and people are dying spiritually.
Yeah.
And we need to be the ones that hey, you know, get down and do some compressions for the heart, because the heart
Yes.
is the issue, right? The heart is the issue. The heart is dying, and they
Yes.
connect with both. The heart is dying when somebody's dying physically, and the heart is dying when somebody's dying spiritually.
Yes.
And so that is kind of like my ministry all in one. So when you get me in the doing the CPR stuff, I'm still always thinking about, you know, just the whole person, the whole person, all matters of life.
That's
And I
good.
want to see you live. But yeah, when I see dead people walking, like spiritually, it bothers me.
Yes.
And so I do my best to equip and empower others to save their life. That's, you know, with the CPR. And
Wow.
one other thing that I think that you will find really interesting is that I also do matters of the heart. That's my presentation.
Okay.
I go out and I go to women organizations, and especially African American women. I do all women, but you know that women are the number one that's dying due to heart disease.
Yes.
So this is how myself all intertwined. So we're dying. Women, period. Number one in heart disease is dying right now. And unfortunately, African American women are number
leading.
one of all of the women. And so God was showing me that we have a heart problem that's going on in America, period.
Yeah.
And I see it. When I see it visually, physically. Oh my God, it's literally happening. And then I see it spiritually, and I think we all can see we dying due to heart disease, and we're dying spiritually, our hearts. And so I give a presentation, and I share all the statistics about heart disease and what we can do to do better, live better, be healthier, that kind of stuff like that. And then just tie it all in, you know. The presentation is really nice. I had an opportunity to share it last year at the Black Business Week. That was my first time doing a big presentation of the matters of the heart. Wow. And so I will give little clippets, and I hope to get back to that, because I will give like little clips, the facts about heart disease and women dying, you know, trying to empower us to come together as one and know that we need each other, period.
Yeah.
And our heart do matter. You know?
That's so good, because especially in our community, I hated being in, you know, nursing school, and our race is just hitting the top diabetes, you know. So we definitely need to be educated, and we definitely need to not be in denial about the reality of how we're taking care of our bodies. If we don't think about it, that it don't exist. No, we need to take it by the horns, because if you're going to live out your purpose,
well, you can't
be healthy.
You can't go ye therefore. You know what I'm saying? You can't go out there if we can't make it out the door. And so we are dying with this heart disease. The heart thing is so important. We're dying, you guys, because of our hearts, not physically right. You know, and what I found in the study was that stress is a big key. So that connects me with the spiritual aspect back with the physical, because if we're stressed up here in the spiritual, then we're dying in the physical, and it all connects. It all connects. That's what's so beautiful to me about how God is working with me and developing with me. And it all goes back to the heart. And bottom point is, we gotta have love. Back to the heart. The heart is love, right? And so that's the key. He said to me, people need what you have.
Yes.
And I said, well, what do I have? I have the love. I have the love. I can love others unconditionally, and without wavering and without bending of my beliefs or anything like that. I can just love you because God loved me. And the heart is a big piece of why I see so many different things happening in our lives in America, everywhere, is we have a heart problem.
Yes, that's good.
We have
wow. You've said so much, man. So we have to settle in.
I know. You have really inspired me, because I have so many different dreams and purposes and different things that I want to do. And I wanted to bring women together, like at a round table, and we really have these discussions. It's just about life, just talking like we just did. Just
Yeah.
conversation. Because if people could be a fly on the wall and just hear real conversations, you can glean from it so much,
Yes.
and it inspire you in some way. And it's just
Yes.
real, just being who we are, you know,
Yeah.
and God do the rest. So
Yes. Being transparent. I mean,
yeah,
let's get beyond the superficial, because
yeah,
here.
yeah. We're, in order to
Yeah,
make it, in order to live, in order to thrive, in order to see others become all that they would become, it is so important. I think,
definitely.
I know it's time for us to wrap up. And the last thing I would share
Hmm.
is anything, you mentioned about my book,
Yes.
the Divinely Inspired. Divinely
Yeah.
Inspired was, yes.
I'll
I,
make sure they see. There we go.
Divinely Inspired was a book that was, it's called Divinely Inspired because it was truly divinely inspired. I tell you, I am not traditional in any form or fashion, but God will deal with me about writing. So I write quotes, and I write a journal. I keep a journal. I got so many journals from when God first called me. Like, I got journals, right? You know, every time somebody give me a gift, they give me a beautiful journal. That's just what I love. And so I would write different quotes and stuff, and I would put my stuff on Facebook. I know this is going to sound weird to you guys, but I'm going to share this with you. It's my secret, but it is not a secret, but I'm going to share it. But I would write quotes. You see my little quotes, and I put Divinely Inspired all over Facebook and my little stuff. But one day
Yes.
God said to me, he said, go back and get your stuff.
Hmm.
I went back and got my quotes and my poems and some of my sermons and things like that. And that has created Divinely Inspired. It is filled with encouragement. Seriously,
Yes.
it's filled with encouragement, empowerment. And I tell people, if you are pregnant with a spiritual assignment, when Divinely Inspired is the book for you. Because
Yes.
I even share in there about my transparency of being pregnant with a spiritual assignment.
Hmm.
And this book has opened up doors in so many ways for me to go out and to share with women, to share my poems, to share a woman like me that's inside of here. It's just
Yes.
amazing. But yeah, that this book was divinely inspired by God. I didn't sit down and just gonna write this all book together. He showed me through my journey. This is why it's so important to keep a tally of what you're doing and stuff like that, because throughout your journey, my journey called life, I was writing stuff, and basically I was writing out my book and didn't realize it. And so I went back and got my quotes and got my poems and everything. So all this stuff was like over years. Stuff
Yes.
I personally wrote, and it shares the things I've gone through. You know, being that woman that started that was called into ministry and walking throughout my journey and sharing my life experiences. It's in my book, and it is 51 days of inspiration. Every day is totally different. Not one day is the same.
That's awesome. I actually have one. I want
Mhm.
to read, since you it says, as I was driving, it's called The Hidden Treasure. I love this.
Oh,
As I was driving into work today, I saw a vision of a jewelry box that had a very rare and authentic piece of jewelry inside. It was so striking that it stood out. It was mixed with new and old pieces of jewelry. This piece was never worn, and it appeared to be overlooked. I underlined overlooked in my.
yeah.
One day the jury said, "Why am I overlooked?" God said, "Because you are a hidden treasure. I'm saving you for a special occasion. You never want to rush the process or timing of God, because you may encounter the wrong connection. Many times you are a treasure that is hidden until the right one turns and opens the lock." I love that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I love that. I love that. I love that. I
I
think
went, yeah. That
just
one is, and there's another one very similar to that in the book as well.
I got a few.
It's really amazing because I looked at my own life and I thought, they don't see me.
Mm,
They don't see me. And God had to show me that he saw me, and it
yes.
wasn't meant for everyone to see me.
Come
Um,
on.
so he hid me. I was a hidden treasure, and only the right person, only the right timing, really, the
Yes.
right key could open up the treasure, open
Wow.
up the box and see the treasure that hidden in me. And if he had opened up, if everyone was able to see my treasure, it wouldn't have been treasure. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. I got you.
Used it. It would have been misused.
It would have been mishandled. Come on now.
Because they wouldn't have knew the value, your value. And so and I hope people get that and they like realize that they are valuable and they're
Yes.
priceless, and you are a hidden treasure. So don't get upset when people don't see you, don't call your name. Know this, that God knows you, and He sees you are a hidden treasure. And at the right time, in the right place, He will give that key, and they will be open up. And then it's like that. I sing this song. It's my favorite song, one of my favorite songs, but it's Diana's song. I'm coming out.
Yes.
What the world does now. And so, yeah, that is, you'll come out. That treasure will be,
Yes.
the treasure, and it'll be cherished.
Yes. I love that.
The diamond,
I love that.
they just overlook it because it's a diamond. They got so many of them out there, right, or whatever. But
you're rare, honey. It's like you're a rare one. I love it. I love it. I love it because we can become disheartened and we think that we are being overlooked, and that's why I underlined it in my book. And it is always good. What I love about this one, I have a few of them that I've marked, but is that the jury begin to ask questions. And I think it's so important for us when you're feeling like you don't understand fully, start talking to God, start asking questions.
yes,
Respond, and He will let you know what He's up to and what's going on. So you don't just get tired of waiting and you won't feel like you're left off. That's the place where the enemy can get us distracted and get us, misperceiving God's intentions. But just like the jury, just ask God, what are you up to? Oh, girl, we can be.
We love the answer, but we need to listen.
Yes.
Sometimes we're asking questions, and sometimes one of my friends always say, just shut up.
Yes.
Just be quiet, just zip it, because you have to take the time out. As much as you taking the time out to ask all these questions, you have to take the same amount of time to listen.
Yes.
And just be still and be comfortable with being still.
That's good.
And listening. You don't have to rush it. Just wait, God, and He will show you. I mean, from just the trees, the breeze, the life, and just watch. Just wait and just wait and watch Him. And then write in your journal.
Yeah.
And write your journal. Follow your passions,
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much for this time. I'm just, wow.